you're looking for the dictionary definition of a classic British sports car, then look no further than the MGB. It was already a classic before it went out of production, and it's now 60 years old. We think it still makes an awful lot of sense as a classic car. So here's what you need to look for.
But first, our friends at Lancaster Insurance are running monthly giveaways. You can win all sorts, from experience days to tools, restaurant vouchers and tech. So click the link below at the end of the video to enter their latest competition.
The MGB was a monocoque shell as opposed to the MGA, which had a separate chassis. Now that meant that a lot of strength had to be built into the body shell, especially for the first 3 years of production, which were roadsters, and then the GT came out in '65. Let's start with the sills, as I said. Now you can only see this part here, but the sill is recessed to go under the front and rear wings. So if you're going to replace it, the wing is a bolt-on panel, but the rear one will definitely need cutting up the bottom to access. Now basically it's two box sections. This outer sill makes out the outer skin of the first box section. There's an inner box section, and between them is a vertical diaphragm. Very hard to check if it's solid. These will rust from the inside out. Couple of bubbles on there, expect the worst. At the bottom, what's called the castle section, an up and down panel underneath that boxes off the bottom of the box section. And if that's rotten, you're gonna spend probably $1,000 aside getting it all sorted. So really check carefully in this area. Check the door bottoms for rust and look at these panel gaps. Because the sills are so expensive to do, and it's a tricky job for a DIY welder, you might find unsightly patches and bodges. Just have a look at these door gaps. This one, it's a 12,000 mile car, is absolutely perfect. We've literally picked the most perfect example we could find here. Take my word for it that these can suffer if there's corrosion issues here. Additional corrosion can be found on the rear wings of the car, around the wheel arches. And while you're underneath, have a good look at the rear spring hangers, because they can corrode where the leaf springs mount. Just check it's all nice and solid under there. This car is absolutely mint. Check the bottom of the tailgate for rust, the rear panel for rust. On a roadster, look at the boot lid, because it can go at the bottom edge. Lift up the carpets and have a look at the boot floor. Just check everything's solid. Check out the condition of the wings, because these can rot. The leading edge of the bonnet, the bottom of the windscreen on the scuttle panel, just check that, and just check inside underneath the wings. There's basically a ledge, grime and dirt and everything else to sit on, so that can corrode it out. Just check carefully under there as well. So have a look around the front valance, and then moving under the bonnet, battery tray, bulkhead, things like that, just to make sure it's all solid. This is a later rubber bumper car, came out in 1974 to satisfy US regulations. Just check the bumpers aren't wavy and disintegrating on a rubber bumper car. These are Bayflex polyurethane, very hardy, but can get out of shape in sunlight and things like that. So just check that carefully. On a chrome bumper car, obviously just check the state of the chrome. There were various different grills, the early full chrome grill, the recessed sort of fish mouth grille, and then a later honeycomb design. Also, just do your homework, check it's the right grille for the car. Doesn't matter if it isn't, they're all interchangeable. Make sure all the bright work is tidy, have a good look round, and just satisfy yourself with the conditions. Yes, it can all be replaced, but you'll probably find the original parts are much more hardy than some of the replacements. If your MGB is terminally rusty, you can get a complete new body shell from British Motor Heritage. A roadster is around £13,000 and they go up to around £15,000 for a GT shell. Just factor in the cost of body repair or perhaps buying a better example before you take the plunge. There are a lot of cars that have been Heritage shelled though, and they can command a premium on the market if they've been done well. Heritage shells came out as long ago as 1988, so just check carefully for rust as well. Now, unless you're looking at an MGB GT V8 or it's had some serious work, the engine you're going to be greeted with under the bonnet is the trusty 1.8 litre B series unit. Now these, very resilient, nice torquey little engine, but if you can hear any sort of light tapping from the top end, that might be tappets, need adjusting, something like that. Bottom end, on the other hand, if you can hear any rumbling, a rebuild is imminent. If there's high oil consumption or low oil pressure, it could be that the crank bearings are worn, or the oil pump is giving up, or that one of the crankcase breathers is blocked. You're looking for above 50 psi of oil pressure, around 3,000 RPM. 65 would be better, and at idle, 20, 25 would be good. If you've got black smoke, it's probably just because it's running too rich, so the carburetors will need adjusting. If you've got blue smoke, could be problems with the piston rings. Anything on the overrun, could be top end, worn valve guides, anything like that. White smoke could be head gasket. The colour of the smoke, if there is any, could give you a good indication of what state the engine's in. And while you're looking around the engine, a common area for oil leaks is the front and rear crankshaft oil seals. To do the rear one is an engine out job. That could be a good bargaining point. And if you can smell petrol, just be aware that the top of the fuel tank at the rear can corrode. So just check that carefully if you smell any fuel. The lovely thing about a B series, much like the A series, is you can buy bits from pretty much any specialist. There are loads of people catering for this engine, loads of people that can rebuild it for you, and all the parts are available off the shelf. So it's a real bonus. Just further little checks, just check under the oil filler cap for any signs of mayonnaise that might indicate a head gasket problem. Just check that the coolant's nice and clean, and basically, as long as you look after it, it should last for years. There was a 3-speed automatic option with the MGB, but they're now quite rare, so most cars will be manual. Earliest cars had a 3-synchro gearbox until 1968, when a stronger gearbox was fitted to coincide with the one fitted to the MGC. Overdrive wasn't standard until 1975, contrary to common belief. So if you want overdrive for sure, maybe seek out a rubber bumper car. You can fit overdrive to an earlier car, but you have to change the complete gearbox. The earlier 3-synchro gearbox can have some issues with second gear. Make sure you run it through the gears, check it out. The later gearbox do the same, but it's much hardier. Just check the operation of the clutch as well, just looking for the normal things like slippage and things like that. Now, the ride quality provided by the MGB was one of its plus points. They do ride really well, but it's actually a very simple setup. Wishbones at the front, leaf springs at the back. There's not too much to go wrong, but just check for any wear in the kingpins. If they haven't been greased properly every 3,000 miles, they can develop play. So if you're able to safely jack the car up and just give it a wobble, have a look at that. Lever arm dampers were fitted all round, so just check they're not leaking as well. Rubber bumper cars are about 1.5 inches higher to bring the headlights in line for the US regulation. Now, the earliest Roadsters, they did away with the front anti-roll bar, which makes it a bit more wallowy. It was reinstated in 1976, and then a year later, all MGBs got front and rear anti-roll bars as part of a bit of a redesign. So the later cars handle as well as the earlier cars, in most people's opinion. Now, the brakes are relatively simple. Discs up front, drums at the rear. Now, a servo wasn't standard until mid-1973, although it did become an option from 1970. It doesn't make the brakes any more effective, but does reduce pedal pressure, so you might prefer driving them with a servo. Just check the normal things: scored discs, sticky calipers, wheel cylinders leaking at the rear and things like that. Just take the car out for a test run, make sure it brakes nice and square. Now, in terms of trim, all simple stuff. Your dashboard was revised in later models, and you've got this lovely deck chair trim. Now, that can't be sourced, but everything else, all the earlier vinyl trim, you'll be able to replace it with something similar or exactly the same. It's worth mentioning on Roadsters, there were 3 hood designs: an early packaway hood, an optional grey folding frame, and then later cars had a black folding frame. You can buy replacement hoods, no problem at all. Depending on your budget, depends on what quality you get. As with any car of this age, just have a good look, checking the condition of the trim, check the carpets aren't damp, that might point to leaks, especially on a Roadster, but everything can be bought. I should have mentioned earlier that it's worth checking the floor pans as well when you're looking for rust, but this car is in exceptional condition, and just have a good feel along the inner sills as well, just to make sure there's no grot spots there. In terms of electrics, just check everything works. It's a typical British Leyland vehicle, so just check the condition of the fuse box, earthing points if there's any issues. Generally, most problems can be fixed very easily. It's also worth mentioning that earlier Bs had 2 6-volt batteries, and they've often been replaced by a single 12-volt battery, but check it's got the capacity for cold starting. It might be too low and it will struggle on cold mornings. So what are you going to need to pay to buy an MGB? Well, the best thing about these cars is that prices have remained remarkably static, and it's a buyer's market, so you can see plenty and make an informed choice. Undoubtedly, the cheapest variety is the later rubber bumper GT. You'll pay a bit of a premium for a Roadster over a GT all the way through of about 20%. A poor condition car can start from under £3,000, but they can go up to about £15,000, £16,000 for one with really low mileage like this. The cheapest Roadster is, of course, the rubber bumper one. I prefer the style in a way. I think they're a nice 70s kitsch about them, but a lot of people will still prefer the earlier chrome bumper cars. Cheapest of those will be a Mark III, then a Mark II, then a Mark I. You can pay up to £25,000 for a really nice pull handle Mark I with the lovely steel wheels, perhaps £20,000 for a Mark II, and then maybe a little bit less for a Mark III. Of course, there's also the MGB GT V8. They never made an official V8 Roadster, so they're all GTs, made from 1973 to 1976, quite scarce, and you're going to be paying a premium for those. Think 20,000 and above for one of those. So is the MGB still worth buying after 60 years? I think so. These are a great way into classic car ownership. There's a brilliant club scene, thriving specialist support that means you can basically buy just about everything from these cars, from small trim pieces to an entire body shell. Yes, an MGB is an obvious choice, but there's a reason for that. They're great, usable classics that are easy to live with and very practical too. They're well worth buying, and they're still at keen prices. Snap one up while you can.
This video is proudly sponsored by Lancaster Insurance. Give them a call on 01480 400 889 for an insurance quote on your classic car. And don't forget to click the link below to enter their latest competition.